Hey everybody, this is Chauncey Hutter, and I'm with Real Tax Business Success, but I am got two studs with me on this call, and these are the online guys. And so with TaxProMarketer with Nate Hagerty and Christian, his right hand, it's like Batman and Robin.
That's right.
These guys online get you leads, and become the genesis of my relationship with Nate is we go back about 20 years, but yeah, Nate was really strong in areas where I had zero sense as it relates to generating online. The whole online thing was happening 15, 20 years ago. And Nate transitioned himself into this a different piece of the puzzle from a marketing standpoint, and went online and started helping tax and accounting professionals in that capacity, and has done extremely well over this last, I don't know how long it's been, I guess about 15 years or so. Or
we started TaxProMarketer in 2007. And actually, it's funny because you introduced me into the tax industry. People should know that. You brought me into it. And I've been in the industry now, gosh, for almost 18 years. And I started TaxProMarketer at your encouragement, because we were just dealing with your coaching clients in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because you would tell people what to do and how to build their business, and they just wouldn't do it. And I was doing coaching alongside you, and we'd give them these strategies and people wouldn't implement. And so TaxProMarketer really did start as a kind of an implementation engine for your coaching clients, Chauncey. And then to the point where I had to make a choice, and you and I had to make a choice together, which was a hard choice, because you were one of by far the greatest person I'd ever worked with, from a boss standpoint. But what was so great about it is you gave me tools and encouragement to start my own thing, and we've remained good friends. And there's been a spirit of no competition and just mutual blessing and benefit. And it's been a great ride. We do things differently in some ways now, but golly, you are a great leader and a good man. So I'm so thankful for you.
So anybody that comes and says, okay, what should I do with my online marketing or my advertising or stuff, I point them in Nate's direction. So that's why we're having this webinar today. It's tax season is coming up in about 6-7 weeks. And most of you need to do something, or if you're doing something, you need to improve what you're doing. And these two guys are the guys you need to talk to. So I'm going to kind of slip out and let these guys do their thing. And I really, you got to pay attention, and do not be overwhelmed with the fact that you don't know how to do all this technology stuff. That's what these guys do. They are the implementation experts. So don't worry about if you don't know how to do it. You need to learn, you need to know about it, but then have them help you go about doing it so they can talk to you about that later. For now, just pay attention, get your notes out, and then absorb what they're calling, because they're going to cover some ground. They're going to open your eyes to stuff that you didn't even know it was an issue. So you got to pay attention. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chauncey. And I do want to take a moment to introduce Christian Jones. You've heard enough about me. Christian is our director of search here at TaxProMarketer. There are 14 of us here at TaxProMarketer, and we are all here to help you with your online marketing. And we do so many different things, but Christian in particular, when he joined us about 5-6 years ago, he revolutionized the results that we were getting on behalf of clients when it came to search engine optimization in particular. But he has his hands in lots of different areas. He and a couple other people form our leadership team here at TaxProMarketer, and speaks with a lot of our clients and people who are wanting to kind of get input on their own online marketing who aren't our clients. He just had, I forgot to update the slide, just had his second child about a month ago. Is that right? 3 weeks ago?
It'll be a month on Sunday. Yep.
There we go.
No wonder you look like you don't have any sleep.
Yep.
Yep. That's because I don't.
He just got a negative COVID test, which is a good thing because he wasn't sure. but he's at
Wasn't
home.
sure I was going to make this webinar just to
That's
not
right.
spread
Yeah,
it. You know,
we're
that's
gonna
like the new
socially
rule, isn't it?
distance, not have him be on the
Socially
webinar.
distant webinars. Right. Yeah.
Right. But he's got a team of about 7 of our team kind of work under him in various forms, a couple of them like real directly, and he drives all the actions, all the results when it comes to search engine stuff for our clients, and is paying attention on a very granular level to what's happening from the Google Webmaster Tools, the search engine land, all these kind of high profile Moz sources that are telling us what is changing, because stuff is changing month by month by month in terms of what are the signals that Google is looking for to rank sites. And there's 2 primary places that we need to rank sites: on your kind of the main Google results and in the local engine. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But here is a snapshot of our team as well. We are certified partners with Infusionsoft. We're digital marketer certified partners, got a bunch of content certifications. And we actually recently became Google Premier Partners, which means we're in the top 1% of agencies that work with Google when it comes to pay-per-click and SEO. So we're held to the highest standards of ethics and excellence on behalf of our clients. So we're Premier Partners, not just regular partners. And my other family, this is my work family, this is my other family. I'm not going to go into a lot of time because there's obviously I could talk about this for days. As you can see, I have 7 children, and a few of them don't look like me. And my wife and I, we were not able to conceive children, actually, during the period that I worked with Chauncey. And we felt like that was God's way of shutting one door and opening another. And so we adopted 4, 2 from Ethiopia, 2 from Uganda, when they were 1, 3, 5, and 7. And we did it at different points, obviously. And then 13 years into marriage, after month after month after month and years of trying, we actually, we conceived. We'd been told we couldn't, and we were infertile. And a light bulb switched on, and then 3 biological children later, and here we are. So it's an amazing story. We're so blessed, thankful for it all. But I also share that so that you get a picture of the fact that, like, I know what it is to battle and try for something month after month after month and have it not land. And from a personal standpoint, I know that intimately. I know that from a business standpoint, where you're trying to, make change in your business, trying new marketing techniques, and they don't work. And then hopefully you find somebody who shines a light, or something changes in your circumstances and a light bulb turns on and everything changes. I hope it's not too lofty of a goal that this webinar might be some of that for you today. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give you the tools to kind of light the path for online marketing for you. We have developed over the last 3 years or so what we call our digital dominance method. And we're not going to go into every aspect of this. In fact, today we're doing new content that I've never before presented to Chauncey's, actually never before presented, period. So this is, we are going to be dipping in and out of this, but this is the methodology that we follow on behalf of our clients in order to build for them a online marketing machine that really works. But we're also I'm gonna peel back the curtain and show you some of the components of that you can implement. My goal is to give you tools that you can implement, but also give you free tools that will kind of help you along the way as well. Not just intellectual tools, but actual software tools. I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. So we're gonna start with some basic assumptions that I'm hoping that all of you understand. It is 2020, we're moving into 2021. Some of these assumptions are more controversial than others, but these are things that I have spoken about with Chauncey's audience multiple times. And so I wanted to do different things today. So the first one is that you need to know that you need more than a website to market your professional services firm online. You have got to have a comprehensive online footprint for your firm. Whether or not maybe you just have a website, the reality is your prospects are looking at well more than just your website. And so the fact is, whether you just have a website and you think that you call it good for online marketing, guess what? There are algorithms and services that are scraping your data on your behalf, whether or not you know it or not. And you can choose to claim and optimize those or not, and let the robots do it for you. But if you choose to claim and optimize these, you can create kind of a synergistic whole that works together. So your website being the content hub that has to spit out, because you can post content to your Google My Business. I'm not sure if people know that. You can post updates on the regular, daily, if not more than daily, to your Google My Business page, which actually very much helps. Some of you don't even know what I'm talking about when I refer to your Google My Business page. That's okay. We'll kind of briefly explain what I mean by that. But there's about 73 different secondary listings that we track on behalf of our clients that, again, are getting claimed for you whether or not you like them or whether you want them to or not. The robots are doing it if you're not. The second thing, the website, what we do with the website has shifted so much, right? And the purposes of a website. It used to be that you just having a website, having your information out there really mattered. That alone was enough. Well, now you've got video, blogs, social media, all the other secondary listings that I talked about, how search engines relate to your website, how you rank. All of this forms this broader online marketing footprint that you've got to understand. The second thing that is an assumption that I'm making is that you have a conversion orientation with everything you do online. And by that, I mean, you're not just throwing a bunch of crap up, hoping it sticks for the purposes of image. Now, if you're following Chauncey, you've already got that understanding that, like, when you spend money, you want it to come back with friends attached. And when you have something online, you want to have it convert people into the next stage of whatever it is that you're going to do in the online marketing relationship journey. So there's a conversion orientation to everything that you do. So some people have taken that and they've taken it all the way to the point where they don't actually even have a full content-oriented website, and they just use like landing page software or ClickFunnels or some of these other things as the primary engine for their firm. Now, there is a place for having these landing pages, these funnels within your broader online marketing mix. We use them. Chauncey uses them. Of course, they can be very effective. However, when you are not placing content, they don't lend themselves to placing informational content that actually gives the algorithms, the robots, reason to rank you highly in the search engines, which is the power position that you want. Because that's not based on advertising. That's not based on budget. That is based on you doing what is needed to be done right. Okay, so again, these are basic assumptions. I've gone over these a few times with Chauncey's audience. So I'm kind of giving like the quick summary before we dive into the real stuff. The other thing you need to understand, my basic assumption that especially if you're on Chauncey's list, is that you understand that email marketing is your hidden weapon. So here's the deal with email in 2020. What our data is showing us and what we have seen just from feedback from clients is this is getting more powerful, not less. I have a bunch of suppositions why that might be the case. Here's supposition number one, is that every other space online, especially browser, app, phone, it's very noisy. It's very distracted. You can click away anywhere, but email suddenly feels calm. Email suddenly feels like it's the place where you can just focus on the one thing and you're not clicking away to all this different stuff. So whether or not, why that's the case, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is when you do email marketing well, you get results. When you don't, you don't. But you talk to any online marketing expert worth his salt, and they will tell you that having an effective email marketing engine is like the first and most important thing that you can have underneath all of the other components. The other basic assumption is that tactics are constantly changing, and you've got to be paying attention to this stuff. Again, this is why this is brand new stuff. And then the fifth thing is that you want to bring your prospects through what we call the online marketing relationship journey, i.e. that what marketing really is about is moving people from cold to warm to hot to client to high paying client, like everything along that spectrum, and building different assets and different pieces that will feed into that journey. And because you understand it's a relationship journey, you also have to understand that it's very rare for it to just happen like that. It's very rare for you to find a spouse and propose marriage on the first date and have them say yes. It does happen, and the people who would say yes to being proposed to on the first date are weird and not the kind of people that you necessarily want as clients. Now, obviously, you can take the analogy too far, because sometimes, yeah, you can get great clients. You just catch them at the moment when they're ready, and you present yourself, boom. Okay, they're not weird, they're sophisticated. But that's the exception more than the rule. The modern prospect today is poking and prodding and looking so many different ways at a business before they're making a decision. Oh, I mentioned the free tools. Again, I'll give you a URL for that in a little while. So let's start into this. The first thing you need to understand is that marketing your practice, your tax or accounting, whatever you do, your primary source of revenue in your firm, moving these prospects in that relationship journey, it's no longer linear. And I'm not the only one that's saying this, but let me kind of give you an example of actually a funnel, quote unquote, a journey that I see happening a lot, to tax professionals. And a lot of times people are kind of pointing people to this, and that's like the Facebook interruption ad. So while somebody's scrolling Facebook, you interrupt them with one of these goofy "hi there" videos. You take them to a landing page, that's just a one pager, and they go into a booked appointment from that, and then you've got to pitch them right away. So that's like one path that you see a lot, and that's a linear path. The problem is this is not the normal path anymore. This was maybe an innovative path 5-6 years ago, but if you're paying attention to what the data is saying, Google and I've cited this article before, it came out about 18 months ago, but it's really important for you to understand. Google's looking at consumer behavior across different verticals, across different industries. This isn't just in the tax and accounting space. They're talking about how intent is redefining the marketing funnel. And what they talk about is that marketers can no longer plan on a linear journey. And what that means is, so this was October 2018. So this is 2 years ago that they highlighted this for people, and it's only gotten more the case. It means that if you look at consumer behavior, there are hundreds and hundreds of touch points that consumers have before they make a decision. And I'll explain what that means. I mentioned that online marketing relationship journey, right? So this is like the 4 stages of relationship that we've kind of dialed down. But here is the more common path. And this is, all of these things, if you just have a squeeze page funnel, the things that are highlighted aren't covered. Okay, so somebody's searching for something. What's great about search advertising, and when people find you in a search engine versus being interrupted in a Facebook ad, is that you're already talking to prospects who are looking for something specific. It's intent oriented rather than interruption oriented. So they might find your website, but then they get distracted by election results. Some screaming notification comes in, so they go away. Maybe they go to CNN.com, but suddenly they see your ad is on CNN.com, and they go, "Oh yeah, I was looking at that website yesterday when I was looking about how to find the best tax accountant in the Peoria area. I'm going to go back and get that." So it goes back to the website, does opt in finally, because again, they're not distracted. They go there with even more intent because they see that you follow them. They opt in on the lead magnet. There's an email sequence with that lead magnet that brings them along a relationship journey such that they get even more intrigued. So they might ask their friends about it. Maybe they look you up on Facebook. They find your Facebook page. They see that you've actually posted on a regular basis. They like what you posted. So they go deeper. They go look at the Google My Business page. They see that you have a pretty good review, proportion. You've got like maybe just 20 reviews, but it's like 4.7. So that looks good. So then they give you a call. And by the way, what they do to give you their call is with a maps listing. Does that not sound like how most people even you, interact with finding local businesses? This is a very common journey. There's about 12, 13 of these journeys that we've kind of identified with different starting points, different middle points. The point is, everything that you see in bold on your screen, if you just got the squeeze page or you just got like the standard brochure style kind of glorified collateral website, none of this stuff actually will work. You've got to do more. Now, if you want us to take a look at what you're doing, we will do it, whether or not you want us to serve you or not. So I wanted to let you guys know we are doing a free online footprint analysis for Chauncey's audience. Plus, we are giving away 4 free marketing tools for the first 20 people that go to this website, TaxProLeads.com, fill out a few quick questions on that website, set a time on the calendar so that we can give you the analysis. We will actually go over this with you and give you access to the tools when you answer these questions. Here's the deal. This is not a sales call. If you want it to be, we will certainly help you figure out what makes sense for you. We are not a charity. We are a business. But we will go over this information with you, help you dream about what's possible, help you apply what we've talked about today during this session. So this is a complimentary thing that we're doing for Chauncey's audience. So you can do that at TaxProLeads.com. All right, so let's dive into the advertising tactics. This is going to be a little bit more like jazz than like a college course today. I'm going to be interrupting Christian with snarky comments, and he's going to do the same thing with me. But we're going to talk a little bit about pay-per-click advertising. And again, Christian's pretty experienced in this because pay-per-click and search engine optimization really do work hand in hand, because you can't really send good traffic unless you've built, or you can't send great advertising traffic unless you built something with a good search engine foundation, because Google is actually paying attention to your authority score. So, Christian, why don't you take it from here? You're smarter about this stuff than I am.
Yeah, sure. And I'll sure you'll jump in as you want, Nate. So feel free to chime on in. But guys, hey, yeah, Christian here. Glad to be with you. We're going to talk about paid and unpaid traffic. It's another way to say what Nate's been describing. This is the paid traffic side. This is the shortcut. I don't want to wait for my organic rank to improve, which I'm going to tell you a bit about. This is if you need leads tomorrow or come tax season, and you don't want to wait for the Google bots to, favor you over your competitors, you need to advertise. But a lot of you have either never advertised or you have and it didn't work. And so skepticism is something I run into a lot. These are the reasons why ad campaigns tend to fail. Let's start here. There's an auction process for Google Ads. That's one thing that a lot of you maybe don't know. There's different costs per click, right? Some of you have probably heard of pay-per-click advertising. What you don't realize in that whole kind of environment, this whole universe of advertising, is there are some really, really expensive keywords. And then there are some less volume, keywords getting less volume, but longer keywords, like more words in the phrase, but cheaper and possibly more qualified. Those are things that really, among a lot of different issues that we're going to talk about here, really can wreck an ad campaign. Because if you just are throwing ad dollars at the wall, hoping it sticks, Google's going to tend to target $20 to $30 per click keywords for you. So if your budget's only a couple $100, there it goes on the first couple of days.
I did also want to interrupt and let people know that I will follow up. You're going to get all the slides for, in the follow-up emails from this. So we're going to be kind of like reading the menu a little bit on these slides. It'll be up to you to eat, so to speak. So we're not going to be able to go over every piece of information on these slides, but I did want to highlight the one ad group thing. This is a huge mistake that a lot of people make where Christian, you're better at talking about it.
Yeah, sure. So again, I mean, these probably would be the top two things, the one I just mentioned, and then the second bullet point. If you're really trying to dial in on a certain service or a certain type of prospect, there's a lot of tools. There's a lot of detailed oriented kind of granular level demographic stuff with Google Ads you can dig into, or you can just have a catch-all ad campaign. That's a huge mistake, to run simple ads on Google and just say, hey, I'm tax service ABC down the street. throw $1,000 at it and hope for the best. You can get clicks, but where you get money on ads is, again, kind of getting more clear. Who is your ideal prospect? What's your ideal service? And then back to the auction process, targeting better keywords and not losing all of your budget on a couple of really expensive keywords. So those are two that are probably worth mentioning. These are, again, more in the positive things to consider as you structure your ad campaign. And like Nate said, we can't go through all of them. Let me just point out the top and the bottom, actually, the first and the last. If you've ever done marketing or advertising of any stripe and you don't know how to track conversions, that's a huge problem. Whatever you do come tax season, you must have a concrete way of tracking results before it launches. That's a huge problem with a lot of ad campaigns, is it's just opaque. It's unclear what success is. And the last is, ads work best when you run them, see the data that comes through the ad campaign, and then make adjustments.
Yeah.
So those are things to consider.
Like setting an ad group up and then checking on it like 3 months later, and they set it and forget it. And they wonder why it doesn't work. Well, because they're not inspecting the data on a regular basis, on a daily basis.
Exactly. Those are things not to do. Those are things to do. And you'll have these slides sent to you. And if you want to discuss anything that we go over that I don't cover or Nate doesn't cover, grab a call with us and we'd be glad to chat. But really, now let's talk about results, stuff that we've done for our clients.
Well, and just what we've seen too. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's through the lens of what we've done from our clients, but it's really these macro trends that go well beyond the tax and accounting space. So surprise, surprise, the coronavirus caused everyone to have fear and panic, and that causes people to kind of not want to invest money in marketing or advertising. Most industries are down for advertising during this year, including finance and accounting. Yet at the same time, the clicks, the engagement, and the search volume has gone up. Why? I mean, all the tax changes, the tax deadline got moved, PPP and SBA loans. There's a lot of reasons for people to be looking for you guys. And yet people pulled back their ad budget. So it's kind of a great time to consider advertising. It's one of those just windows that doesn't come up all the time, where there's more prospects and it's cheaper to start playing. So it's not like it's, 10 cents to 20 cents. We're talking like, $15 to maybe $3 to $5 on some of these keywords you might target, but substantial drops. So what we're talking about, if this is still unclear, what we're talking about is how to get your business ranking here. This is a search engine results page, and we're going to talk about that ad space and how to think about that in light of coronavirus, in light of moving to tax season 2021. But now more than ever, searchers are looking for experienced help. This is the guy who gave us the data on, hey, what's happening in the finance and accounting and insurance space in terms of ad spend. And there's just a lot of evidence that you guys are becoming more and more popular. So that's a premise. That's just the premise as we go into this that I want you to be aware of. It's a great time to advertise. It's a great time to shortcut the process of getting people to reach out and call you. And hopefully this is persuasive as we move into some of the more tactics, because I am going to get a little more granular moving forward. So Nate, let's keep rolling if you wouldn't mind. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of examples of different campaigns that we've run, and I'm going to rip through them. Again, I won't have time to explain everything going on, but there's a couple of different types of advertising campaigns that we've brought into this presentation just to show you guys. So as an example, if you've never run ads before, here's what this can look like. Over June to September, so 3 months, $1,600 in ad spend, $3.17 per click, a 2.91% click-through rate. I've got some juicier data I'm about to show you, but if you're about to advertise, whether you do it with us or someone else, this is just helpful for you to know. Above a 1% click-through rate is the benchmark. And I'll say it again. If you get above 1% click-through rate on your ad campaign, that is an industry benchmark in and out of this space, tax and accounting or otherwise. That's success.
Now,
so I've got some juicier numbers.
Let me just interrupt and say, it necessitates that you have a plan for that traffic, which we do on behalf of our client, right? You can send a bunch of traffic and have an awesome click-through rate. Yeehaw! Who gives a rat's rear end? You want it to like actually convert to like leads and conversations and clients. And so you've got to build your website or the page that you're sending traffic to in such a way that it does convert people. That's actually one of the reasons why I'm not sure that we are going to talk about it a little bit.
We will.
We've shifted, even in the last few months, the conversion strategy on behalf of all of our clients, because we did some testing this year. You've got
some of that's coming up soon, isn't it?
That traffic. I'm sorry, what?
Some of that's coming up soon. Don't we have, is our next slide some of the questions we ask?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll show you guys from the click, what's our strategy to get them to take the next step? Because that's, again, this little ecosystem within advertising that circumvents your website. Here's something I don't have on the slides. Nate, speak to this if you want. Don't send your ad traffic to your main firm website, period. Have a separate ecosystem that if they click the ad, they don't want to go poke around on your service page or about page. They want to tell you their problem and take the next step. And so really, marketing or advertising, both sides will talk about reducing friction and making it easier for people to just say, help, here's what I need. That's a huge thing. So for this campaign, we'll get to some of the questions we ask as a follow-up. This is more, again, granular data. This guy went after SBA loan, PPP, keyword searches, and he crushed it. I mean, he absolutely crushed it. These are kind of second level conversions, prospects during that 3-month time period that converted through our funnel that we put up. And so all of those are juicy, warm leads. And here's the thing that I was asking Nate about. Here's some of those questions that we ask once we get them on the next page. And these questions are different for each of our ad clients. So they're customized, but for this individual, here's 2 different examples. Hey, what's the approximate amount that you owe on back taxes? Because these were tax resolution leads. Again, he has different ad groups. He's got the SBA loan side of things. He's got tax resolution leads coming through. We have different things we're advertising for. These are 2 leads that both have massive amounts of back taxes, and they're saying, here's my problem. And that can lead directly then to a schedule page where they jump on the phone and we track that data, which is what you're looking at here. And you can see average talk time.
Scheduled calls. This is calls directly from.
Correct.
Yeah.
From the ad.
Yeah.
But point being, we track a lot of data to measure conversions. This is hopefully encouraging from a few points of view. One, kind of verifying at the outset, it's a great time to advertise. And second, you can track a lot of data to see if this is effective. So those of you that are skeptical, the ROI kind of speaks for itself. How many of you would like to have 30 juicy leads telling you, hey, whether it's SBA loans or tax resolution stuff, I've got 46 real pre-qualified leads from this ad campaign in 3 months. That's compelling. As long as you guys are good at sales, that's where you pick up the ball from us. But this is stuff you could put in place. So here's another campaign. It's going to be a lot of the same data. I think it's a little even juicier, but we'll skip past it. 7.63% click-through rate, same amount of spend, stimulus package targeting. Those calls right there, go back one slide, Nate, just real briefly. This is June to September as well. This is people clicking his ad and then calling directly. 123 calls from his ad over a 3-month time period. Some of that also depends on your capacity. If your office is set up to take calls, awesome. If it's not, we can always schedule, or you could schedule follow-up calls instead of having to be a direct to your phone line. But the point is, it's a great time to advertise. So Nate, this is kind of the turning point to organic. Is there something you want to add to ads before we move on?
No, I mean, Google pay-per-click we have found to be far more effective than Facebook. And by the way, I did want to have people have the freedom to ask questions. There is a Q&A box. We will get to any questions. If there's stuff that you are curious about, you want to get more information about, please feel free to use the Q&A, which is on the bottom.
I have a question.
Please.
No, Chauncey, I meant the participants, not you.
I know, but I'm participating.
Oh, okay.
What is the percentage you guys either recommend, or what's the ballpark? We want you to do this many paid ads and this much search as far as how you get clients.
So the vast majority of traffic comes through search. The vast majority of phone calls, leads, and everything actually comes through organic traffic. we love paid ads as a kickstart and as like another source. Paid ads are great for the quick results, but we get more volume with search stuff. Christian,
and yeah, I wouldn't change anything you said, Nate. I would add that paid advertising also offers flexibility on kind of two fronts. One, the organic, Google just loves you. You're dominating in your backyard physically, like your physical geographic area, gets more volume, but also you can't, if you're in Los Angeles, you can't rank in New York. This is an important kind of, unless you have a location there, right? But if you wanted to break into any other market, you must advertise. And all of you probably have services that cross state borders, but Google does not see you that way. Google sees you as a local. So when you want to break into a new market, if you've got a foothold in another town, it can even be 20 miles away. You probably won't show up there unless you advertise. Google, the denser the city is, the more narrow the radius is, and advertising can be really helpful to break in. And it also can be helpful for a niched prospect. So that's kind of thing number two. The more niched your prospect is, the more likely you must do advertising to get them to take an action with you. Those are things, it's not always that, it's not like a hard and fast rule, but those are things that I look at when we talk to people. Like if it's a really specific client, I'm gonna really strongly recommend advertising. But if you're like a traditional CPA firm or doing a lot of different services, there is way more volume, and where you wanna get is to the point where you can turn off ads if you wanted to and not lose any lead flow, because your organic, unpaid, Google just loves you is so high that you're getting tons of calls anyways.
Yeah,
that's
the real problem with the relying on ClickFunnels approach for all your traffic, which I love ClickFunnels. Again, I've been using it for 7 years. I know Chauncey, you use it, or 6 years. How long has it been out? We were like in the pioneer beta with them.
Sounds about right.
It, like, if you stop advertising, then where does traffic come from?
Right.
No, I'm just talking about doing both. I mean, why not? I'm a believer in doing whatever works. If this works.
I learned that from you. I learned that from you. I mean, when I was running the marketing for your business, Chauncey, what were we spending? Like $400,000, and it was like 70 different campaigns that like you wrote, and I just said, yeah, what he said. I mean, it was, yeah. And we believe that's why we want to have every base covered with an online marketing strategy, not just rely on paid advertising, but include paid advertising, because you might get that different kind of lead that is ready for that thing right now. Whereas the searcher, the searching prospect is more the researcher, maybe more sophisticated, maybe not, it just depends. But often more sophisticated, because they've bounced around and they've been like that modern prospect, and they've done more investigation.
Well, as long as you guys can track it, doesn't matter to me, you know.
Right. Chauncey, maybe this is, or Nate, if we need to keep going, just cut me off. But to be more specific, if you were thinking about addressing both, you should know that as we transition to organic, I'll mention this here shortly, it's not overnight. It does take time. Advertising's the kickstart. However, if you wanted to do an ad budget or an ad campaign and think about a budget, we typically say about $1,000 a month to do a Google search pay-per-click style campaign. Taking you behind the veil, our true minimum for our clients is $500, but that does not activate the pay-per-click style, because there's another type of advertising you can do on Google that we didn't talk about called display. I'm not going to explain it. It's just cheaper, and it's not the
demographically targeted, not intent-based.
Right, and it's not on the Google search page. It's on the top websites around the internet. It's just a different pricing model. It's not ineffective. I'm just finding that the PPC $1,000 start point is a good place for most people to begin. And we could always circle back if people have questions on that and explain that further. So I don't mean to over confuse it, but is there anything else, Chauncey, on that we can answer at this time?
If you're going to advertise, you can't be half pregnant. You've got to go in with a healthy budget, because Google won't really serve your ads up if you're doing like $2 a day budget.
Yeah,
it's just not enough, you know.
Yeah. Let me talk about this for a second, Nate, and feel free to chime in.
Oh, I do.
This slide here, yeah, I know you do. This slide here is a switch to organic unpaid traffic, local SEO. How do you dominate your local search market and send all of the signals to Google? Can you go back to that slide for a second, Nate? I'm not going to explain line by line. No, you won't. It's okay. Yeah, see, Nate controls our slides here, so I'm at his mercy. I'm not going to explain all of these. This is a golden list of things you'll probably never want to do yourself. But if you want to know how to rank on Google, it's not an accident. It's not happenstance. These are the factors and the level of importance 1 to 10. Look at the top. Google My Business and Google reviews are the top 2 things. A huge shift. Go down this list a little bit. On-page SEO elements, that's stuff on your website. That's like thing number 6. So your website still matters a lot. We say that your website's about 50% of the equation for how you show up organically, but the top 2 things on this list have to do with Google My Business.
So
that's a big shift.
And let me just kind of like bigger picture explain this. Google wants to own every component of somebody's online activity. And so they are doing everything they can to keep their users on their stuff and not send them to other websites, even though ostensibly, like, they are an engine for people to find websites, right? Well, gosh, that was back when their motto used to be, don't be evil, okay? They I don't know if you noticed, but they dropped that motto like 4 years ago.
They're evil. They're very evil.
They said, hey,
yes.
Maybe we'll be evil.
What does that even mean? We're not sure. Change the rules.
So
yes,
they no longer say don't be evil. They want all of you. They want every component. So look, here's the other news. If you like are one of these guys who like is a privacy geek, which I understand more and more and more. What you do to optimize for the Google algorithms actually works similarly with DuckDuckGo and Bing and these engines. When you provide them with good content on the regular basis, it sends signals to the DuckDuckGo algorithm in a similar way that it does with Google. Those of you who don't know DuckDuckGo, it's like a very locked down search engine for people who are worried about being followed around the internet, which is, again, you know, I understand. But what, like in a business standpoint, from like you can do that personally, but you've got to know what Google is doing from a business standpoint, because they're still the like huge killer whale in terms of people's usage. So back to what I was saying, your Google My Business profile, if you haven't claimed it and optimized it, then you are really on your heels compared to your competition, because a lot of marketers believe that this is more important in terms of conversions, in terms of like actions and activity than your website.
Yes, 100%, Nate. That's well said. And this list is something that you should download these slides and process this. If you've got someone else doing marketing for you, if you get us to do it, if you try and do it yourself, this is your list of prioritization, what you should focus on and how much in terms of getting found on Google. That's the end of this. The end of this is showing up on Google, which is right here. So remember, I showed you the ad at the top. Now we're talking about ranking in this map section. Here's some other stuff that's kind of hot off the press this year. Coronavirus. Google My Business has adjusted. They've added some new features. You can actually, through Google Reserve, kind of a new program, or just by setting up your appointment calendar, you can get appointments directly from Google My Business. Again, Nate's point, Google's circumventing your website and just trying to keep stuff right on their business page. You can add that.
Use what's on your website to inform their rankings for these things. So the website still matters.
It's, again, we would say, according to what we see and what others say, it's 50%. But that split down the middle is new. That split down the middle is 2020 new. It wasn't always this way. So if you have a Google My Business page, consider adding your appointment scheduling link to it. If you don't have one, you should probably get one. This winter's probably gonna be a lot of work from home and brick and mortar, whatever. You need to be nimble and be able to do scheduling and those features on Google My Business, that's the Google My Business Elements thing that was #1 on the list I just showed you. So here's again proof in what Nate and I are saying. This is a survey of marketers. How many of you agree that Google My Business is the new homepage for a local business? And we have 35% strongly agree, 42% agree. So we have like 77% of people in the marketing world, different industries, yes, but local businesses are saying your homepage for your business is Google My Business. It is no longer just your website.
What I think is interesting is even the difference between just a year ago, the 64%
Yes.
versus 77%. That's a huge jump.
Yes.
You need to understand this trend is just accelerating. You've got to have a strategy for your Google My Business page. And this is one of the great strategies you could use.
Yeah. So like Facebook, you can post content to your Facebook page, get people to share it, click on it, whatever. Lo and behold, Google My Business, you can post content. This is about 18 to 24 months old. It's not brand new, but no one in the accounting and tax space is using it. These links, these posts expire after a week. So you don't have to do it every day. You can, but you should. And this is what we do for our clients. And there are other people that do it as well. You should have a weekly posting strategy at a minimum, so that even if no one ever clicks on your post with the link or the stuff that you put out there, guess who likes it? The Google search bot. Google likes when you do the things that they're putting forward as features and signals. Here's what happens when you do Google My Business posting.
Photos. That counts. Sorry, go on.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and that's exactly what I was about to get into. Is this little graphic here is our clients' photos from Google My Business, how much they get viewed. When we started posting for this client, his photo views on Google My Business went up 278%. I think this was over 9 months. So those are impressions. They're not phone calls, but you need that's the very top of the funnel, is just impressions that will filter down to engagement and phone calls and appointments. Let's talk about reviews for a second, because reviews are important more than anything on kind of two fronts. They're massively important for rank. They have a lot to do with how Google sees you, not just, hey, I've got 5 stars and 20 reviews, but the frequency and the freshness of your reviews, it matters now. But it also matters to the end user. Now, so if we get you, go ahead, Nate.
Also, this also impacts your website showing up.
Yes.
What this slide is actually talking about is your reviews impacts the non-local show up of your content. So
exactly,
the reviews of your business don't just show to the person who's considering using you. They actually impact your rankings for your content.
Right. Google is using reviews as this signal to control a lot about how you show up. And so it matters to them. But here's an example of a client we have. Who are you going to call if you're a prospect in this area? This is that top part of a search page. You've got the top 3 businesses. I did this from a desktop, so the option to call them is not there. But if you did this from your phone, you can get directions, you can visit their website, you can click call. You're probably going to pick the guy who's got 64 reviews and a 4.7 star rating. Now, this is an extreme example, but a lot of your markets that you guys are in do not have people with anything more than 2 to 5 reviews, and maybe one of those guys has a perfect 5-star rating. So not only does this matter to the back-end search engine, how they rank you, but when it comes to the dogfight of this top 3 on page 1, if you get there for a competitive keyword, it's not a guarantee you're going to get the calls if you're like guy number 2 or 3 on this list. They're on page 1. For any person doing search engine work, that's a huge win. And yet I guarantee you, this guy at the top, that's our client, is getting not only the lion's share, probably almost all of the engagement from his market, because he's just so far and away better looking to the end user with those reviews. So these are 4 examples. Nate,
which, by the way, one of those free tools that we're providing will help you generate reviews. It's actually a review generating tool that if you fill out that information on Tax Pro Leads, I had James Bird say that the link that I think maybe Christian put up didn't load or something. It's a redirect. It'll take you to a page on our website that I just put right in there. So if you were looking for this this link to get to access to these review generating tools, You can also go to taxpromarketer.com/flow, which I put in the chat as well. Sorry, Christian, go on.
No, and Nate, let me rip through this so I can get you back on the horn and we can answer questions at the end. These are 4 different examples of clients who, the slide before this kind of shows when they started with us. So full transparency, how long have they been clients of ours? What market are they in? How are they doing on Google? You can see here, this guy who signed up, August 2019, his data from January 1st, 2020 to September 2020. And the thing I want to direct your attention to on these slides, whether you look at it now or later, look at the number, the smaller percentage number beneath the big number, no matter what factor you're looking at. That's the percentage of change. That percentage of change is in relation to, okay, January to September, that's 9 months. Let's go 9 months backwards and see what happened. So 9 months going backwards compared to January 1st to September, if that makes sense, this guy had a 42% increase in his phone calls. His photo views went up 207%. That's the type of before and after look that you should have in terms of measuring effectiveness. This client's been with us for longer, and yet even still, 9-month period, January to September compared to the prior 9-month period, I'm in column 4, row 2, phone calls, 1,500 phone calls, but 104% increase from the prior 9-month period.
Because we're continuously working to update the data and update or optimize it, because it's not just something you set and forget. You have to continuously be working behind the scenes to add stuff and pay attention to the changes and whatnot. I did want to point out the difference on the left-hand side, the discovery versus direct search. What that means is Google is able to track what kind of keywords led to the results that the actions were taken from. And a discovery keyword is a keyword that's a generic, like they're searching for something like accountant near me, or tax professional near me, best tax professional in Colorado Springs. And that led them to this listing, this listing had the impression on that. The direct search is when people are searching for the name of the business. So you'll see that it's almost like 80% of the traffic is discovery. It's people looking generically for the category of something. And so it's an extrapolation, but you can extrapolate that, say 80% of those 1,500 phone calls, call it, what is that, 1,200 phone calls from prospects from people who are discovering this business over the course of 9
and that's actually high. That proportion or that ratio is high in terms of how
it's usually about
90%
discovery.
Most of the time discovery is even higher, but some of these clients actually do have some brand awareness. They've been around for a while.
18 and 5, 9 and 3, 15 and that's actually pretty high also. It's interesting.
And I pick clients that may all have good brand awareness, but what's common in these reports is that direct search impressions are virtually nothing, and discovery is the thing that's booming. So almost all of these slides are showing that direct searches are going down, discovery searches are trending up, and that is the reason for calls, engagement, impressions, etc. So Nate, I think that's all I've got. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
You're back on top.
You're running the whole thing, man.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
I'll keep going.
So let's talk about follow-up. What do we do with this traffic? First of all, you don't want to just drive all of your prospects to scratch their itch in one particular way. That's why you want to, like, if you look at heat map data and the way things convert, you do want to have like a primary way that people will convert on your website or on these various properties. But there's multiple ways to capture a prospect when they come to your site. It could even just be a passive, non-permission oriented, a pixel fires when they hit the website, so that you can retarget them later on with an ad or just a different way of communication. Actually, retargeting has to be an ad. But so you want to have on your website the ability for them to opt in for a lead magnet, the ability for them to set an appointment or whatever, phone, social, all of it, okay? So you'll see, like, this is actually a snapshot from a client of ours. He's got actually multiple locations based in California. And you'll see this is from last year. We update these free report lead magnets every year. we're actually beginning to move towards all of our clients towards the process by which this question begins. Like right on the website, we are moving instead of just sending people to like opting into a lead magnet, we're right on the main firm website page, and every page on the website beginning to ask questions of the prospect. It's like the Ryan Levesque ask method strategy. It's embedding these surveys right on the page, and we're seeing some really good results when we do that. So like just asking if you target businesses, are you a business or nonprofit owner, et cetera? And then after some questions, they can qualify for the next level, okay? So what's great about this, this is just pulling the stuff from the previous slide. What's great about this is you can actually screen out your leads. So you saw that some of our clients were getting hundreds of phone calls a month. Well, the form fills, you can at least screen those people so that you can know, like, if this person isn't a business owner, but you just want to work with businesses, you can send them to a different person or treat the phone call differently or treat whatever differently. But then once you've done that, once you've had them go through the survey, or they've opted in for a lead magnet, or hello, if they've called you and you've asked them for their email address, if they don't actually schedule with you, you still want to get their information. You like phone calls that are from marketing are so valuable. You don't want to just let them go. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you story after story of leads that seemed like they were not like the right kind of lead, but then over time nurture them, and amazing, like turns out that this is like a massive client. So once you capture their information, and this is some of the stuff I've talked about before, but a lot of people still haven't done this, having an intake sequence. The purposes of this is to indoctrinate the person who has opted in the lead with who you are, but also start a conversation, not just talk at them the whole time, but get them to reply and ask them questions over email and get them to engage. You actually want to just get them engaged, take them along the journey. You don't need to like go for the jugular and pitch right away. You just want engagement and building their kind of relationship with you over time. One of the best ways to do that is asking them simple questions that they can send you a short email back to reply to. What's good about that is it like the psychological trigger where they just reply, and you get like they feel like you're their person. But other thing is it helps your email sending reputation, and your emails go to the inbox better when like Gmail and Yahoo and Outlook and these folks see that people are responding to your emails. They don't put you in the spammer category. So that's a good thing too. Stories, Cal Nagy said, a CPA in Kansas City said, my practice exploded this tax season with full practice revenues increased by 7%. Carlita, who's actually gone on to sell her business from Chauncey's coaching, but she gave us this story before. She said, my calendar is getting booked up just off the emails that you guys are sending. Should have done this years ago. Now, what makes the emails and these indoctrination and the intakes and all these different things work? Well, here's what we do for all of our clients, and what I suggest you do as well. Again, having that intake sequence, but then if they for some reason don't act on that, nurturing them over time with real value. And what that looks like is writing a relational one-to-one email, not writing an email that's like the corporate memo from on high that you are just issuing to all of your clients. Hey, clients, here's the 5 updates to the net operating loss carryover rules, blah, 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 blah. No, you write an email like you're writing it to your ideal client, and write it like it's a personal note to them. Give them timely information and consistency, okay? Now, I've actually taken a snapshot of some of the emails that we've sent on behalf of our clients. You can read them. Actually, I'll read this one because, just to give you a flavor of what I mean by this. So this was written probably about 2 months ago, before the election. And you'll notice that we actually address current events and aren't afraid to look like in the mirror, or not in the mirror, but like to look directly at what's happening at current and speaking about it, because that's what's on the brain of your prospects. You've got to enter into that conversation somehow. Got to do it wisely and delicately, because chances are that a bunch of your client base hates Trump. A bunch of your client base loves Trump. A bunch of your client base, is all over the gamut on all this stuff, or, even now Biden, whatever it is. So this was 45 days before the election. And I wrote, with the passing of Justice Ginsburg, 45 days before the election, we've officially entered the political crazy season. This, on top of so much conflict surrounding public health measures, it's also in addition to all of the conversation around racial pain, the difficult issues surrounding so many protests and urban riots. And many are without meaningful work and are dealing with school children at home while having to navigate all of this. So this little political firecracker landed right in the middle of a dry pile of cultural tinder, and it's getting hot in here. And that's why this is the perfect time to do some life planning. Wait, what, Roger? Because this was written by Roger, quote unquote. I wrote it, but it's in the name of Roger, one of our clients. And he said, that's right, I said it. This is the ideal time to take a hard look at what you are really working and living for. Because when you have clarity about these things, you have the ability to put all of these issues in their proper place. When you get clear on your direction, you have the ability to build a financial fortress because you can decide what to build on and what to eliminate from your life. And of course, we can help you build the tax-saving walls around that very fortress. And there's a link to the calendar or phone number. Now, for some portion of my readers, these political and cultural events do have real impact on their day-to-day lives. For a host of reasons, these things are directly pertinent to their work, etc. But that number might be smaller than is the number of my readers who are allowing these cultural riptides to keep them from moving their lives forward. So you see what's happening there is this tax professional is coaching his client base. This tax professional is speaking into the lives of his clients in a real way that builds relationship, engenders trust, authority, and so that when tax season comes around, whoever's receiving this email, they will trust this person in a different way than if they just got a bunch of emails with like the tax code update. You want to talk about the tax code update, and actually for businesses, we went into some direct advice about PPP forgiveness and all of the different tax code things. You could read about that. I'm not going to read that now. The model that we've seen that has worked really well is kind of that intro, like real relationship oriented kind of beginning to the email, and then like a content piece that will build that authority and trust. And doing this weekly, that is like a nurture bomb for your clients. And so your existing clients get this, your prospects get this. Now, what we do is we segment small business owners from 1040 clients, and we actually have a debt relief or IRS resolution track as well. We segment English and Spanish. We can do all this on behalf of our clients. I recommend you definitely at least have that bare minimum like segmentation of 1040 small business and speak to them differently. And then when you do this, when you nurture and don't just pitch on your email list, you get good. Now, this is just our dashboard from our service provider in terms of like deliverability and like how people are reading. And when you send good email like this, it gets to the inbox, people read it and act upon it. So again, another client sent me this note. He said, I thought marketing emails were stupid and would never work. But then my clients started responding with stuff like, these are great, love the emails. I fully expected snarky responses, but it's only been positive. Mike, another email of ours said, another client of ours said, we've even gained a few more new clients who've been receiving them for a few years now, because he puts his prospects on this. Because when people, maybe they fill out a form on your website, maybe they opted in to get a lead magnet or something, but they weren't ready, or something changed, or like they chickened out on making a shift from their tax professional. But if you stay in front of them and give them this kind of value on a regular basis, you'd be amazed. We get stories all the time from clients who have people who've been on their list for years, finally peep their head up and become 5-figure clients. So again, this is just part of the digital dominance method. You'll notice we haven't talked about social media. We haven't talked about cross-selling and ascension. We've talked a little bit about local listings, pay-per-click and SEO, and email nurture and lead follow-up. But I did want to tell you guys about these free tools that we have. Again, it's at taxproleads.com, where you can just click on the link in the chat window there, and then I'll open up for any questions from you guys or from Chauncey or anything like that. But the first 20 people that fill out that information and set a time on the calendar, you're going to get our customer voice tool. And this is actually what enables you to gather reviews. A free tool, it'll generate reviews on your behalf, okay? Completely for free. We actually have paid to develop this tool, but you get it for free. Then we have a reputation management tool that, again, this is what it looks like. This enables you to actually reply and get notifications whenever somebody leaves a review. Now, you can do that with the Google My Business. This just basically makes it easy. It makes it smoother, and like a techno dum-dum can do it better with this tool. It helps you respond with reviews. Now, what we do with our clients, we actually had a client of ours who had a kind of a bit of a crisis with getting like a mob of people who didn't like something that he said in some other forum. And so we had to mobilize to help deal with a lot of negative reviews. So we had to really mobilize in a real reputation management way. And we got like Google and Facebook to remove a bunch of reviews from people who actually didn't use his services, but just had a bone to pick with this particular client, because that's, I guess, a 2020 thing. So this reputation management tool will help you know when those fires might start coming your way. The listing builder is a tool that'll help you analyze and kind of create all those secondary listings to make sure that those are set up properly. And then we have a social marketing analysis tool, which I was too lazy to get a screenshot for, unfortunately, or I missed it. But what this does is that it's an ability to cross-post your content from Facebook to your Google My Business. So this is a tool that'll enable you to post content back and forth, as well as get some insight into how people are interacting with both your Google My Business and your Facebook page. Again, so those free tools are available for the first 20 applicants only at TaxProLeads.com. My email address is christian@TaxProMarketer.com. If you want to send any feedback, send it to christian@TaxProMarketer.com. But again, this is the website you want to go to. So that's like the main thing I want you guys to take away from this is that the marketing landscape is changing, and you've got to take care of more than just your website. You have got to have a plan for your local listings. You have got to have a plan for a website as a content hub that actually gains you traction in the search engines. You've got to have a plan for your social media, for your email system, for nurturing your clients, for cross-selling, for retargeting, all of these things. It seems overwhelming, and it can be, especially if you're bogged down and doing client work all the time. If you pay attention to Chauncey, what I love how he coaches his people is that he really helps people to realize the value of delegation and making sure that you have time to work on your business. This is $1,000 an hour work that we've been talking about today. So the other great thing is we're right here for you if you want help. So just fill out that information. TaxPro Leads will at TaxProLeads.com. We will point the way for like easy ways you can do it yourself, or if you just want us to do it all for you, we have great options for you to do that as well. So that's the ball game, folks. Christian or Chauncey, anything you want to add?
I just have a clarifying question. So if I'm hearing you correctly, if I'm a tax business owner, I'm a little overwhelmed by this all the 6 or 8 or 10 things that I could be doing for help my tax business. It would be wise for me to go to TaxProLeads.com, get the free tools, but then also go sign up for a consultation appointment thing. So you guys, I fill out some information, I guess. I fill out a bunch of questions that you ask me, and then the person on the phone kind of analyzes, you're good here, you're not so good here, here's what you do here, and you go around that circle, so you have some kind of grid on, okay, I can do some improvement here or not, or whatever, but at least you kind of know where you are. Is that kind of the deal?
That's exactly right. And you'll either speak with Christian or our director of advertising, Ben Grootman. And if you're really lucky, you'll speak with Ben. Jokes. But yes, they will walk you through simple steps that you can do and also give you choices for how we could just take all this stuff off your plate. Some of our best clients just have us do it all for them, but they still are engaged with marketing their practice. They like use what we do as kind of the foundational core of what they're doing, and then they might try, like it gives them the freedom to experiment, like gives them the freedom to just try different campaigns, direct mail, or different LinkedIn prospecting things that we're not able to do because of LinkedIn's terms of service. There's a variety of things that just having like an agency or somebody like in-house or somebody who can handle a lot of these core things and do it well, so that you're building and growing without you having to do any of the work. That is a power position, because then you can grow with confidence.
So you know me, Nate, I'm a big believer in do what you're good at, don't do what's you don't do well at. I mean, so if you guys have this done for you online marketing on all these different categories related to online stuff, to me it's real simple. You just contact you guys and see what's the best way to work something out. But what are the one or two top reasons somebody goes, I don't want to talk to you, or I don't want to do this? Like there's got to be a common one or two objections that you come across from people over the years that are like, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to talk, or whatever. What are those one or two things?
Christian, why don't you take that one?
Sure. I could answer that a few ways. I could answer that with what's said, or I could answer that with what I'm reading between the lines. Some common objections are, first of all, kind of just price. Price is a normal objection that we do run into at times.
Well, let me just bounce off of that real quick. People have the wrong perspective, and they see it as a cost rather than an investment.
Exactly. And that's where we turn that conversation. It's, hey, like I can't afford X dollars per month. And then the conversation goes to, okay, so you're going to get more of the same, or it's going to be on you to learn marketing, and good luck.
But they're losing X dollars per month right now. So if they don't do it, they're just money.
They can't afford not to. And people will point to price or point to whatever small piddly investment, and they don't see that when you're talking about hundreds of leads coming in, whether the phone or wherever, Zoom, however you process your leads, and even conservatively speaking, if you can just convert 5%, 10% of the phone calls that are coming through that we're generating, you're going to be making your money back and then some. So it's free money.
Yeah.
It's not a cost like your office space or tax software.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right. And I think if I read between the lines on that, it's not actually price. It's actually a skepticism that this could work for them. A skepticism that they've never generated leads from Google. And a lot of people have either tried this or they've never, because they're afraid of it. And it's a matter of, I see the data, I see the thing, most of us really verify and validate what we're talking about here with how you relate to any local business. How do you find your dentist, your auto mechanic? Like you go to Google and you pick the one that you find, and you go through the process of investigating them and having this whole journey that we talk about. But for some reason, when people think about their business, it becomes muddled or less clear that really could happen. And so that's the thing behind price, that it's like, why would I flush X dollars down the drain with you guys to just be in the same place I'm at? And it's like, well, you're going to get leads. You got to believe that people are using Google, because you use Google. We use Google. Everyone uses it. And that's not it. Like that's part of it. Awareness and visibility and traffic without the other components that Nate talked about, and a lot we didn't, doesn't equal a healthy system. However, you have to start with this understanding that like most modern prospects are going to the interweb to find local businesses. And that's a leap for some people in terms of faith that I think gets expressed as price, if that makes sense.
And that's one of the benefits for how we set up our business, is that we just do it for you. So whether or not you believe in it yourself, we've got a proven track record and hundreds of firms across the country who are very happy. We've got clients who've been with us for over a decade that are extremely happy with ongoing results. Some of the people maybe even on this webinar that we met through you, Chauncey. And what's great about having somebody like us who specializes in the tax and accounting industry and only the tax accounting industry is that we do all the work for you. We produce all the content for you. You are free to just do what you do best. Take care of clients and be an awesome tax professional and geek out on that stuff. And maybe also you want to build and scale in different ways, and you have like these things that like take labor to accomplish. It takes labor to do your Google My Business properly, to build a good website that isn't just like the same website that 10,000 other CPAs and tax professionals have. It takes labor to do that. We will just do that for you. And therefore, it's not about belief anymore. It's about having a proven track record team in your corner to handle it. So, yeah.
Well, to me, everybody here on this call are my clients. So I'm going to highly recommend you at least go knock on the door, sit down, have the conversation online, and have this meeting. And you go to taxproleads.com and get this done, because it doesn't make any sense to sit on your hands and not do it. So at least go do it. And then let these guys talk to you. And if it works out, y'all work together, great. And if it doesn't, they show you some things to do, go do that. And I mean, but it can't hurt. So I want to just encourage everybody, go get those free tools and let's get this thing done.
That's right. All right, everybody. Well, for the sake of time, we're going to end it there. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Chauncey. I very much appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience.
Thank you, guys.
A great man.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.
See you soon.